Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm really excited because today I'm doing a review of my favorite Indy boot makeup ever. This is called the Vintage Indy Boot. It comes from Leather Sole, Hawaii, and just have a look at these. These were made to be screen accurate. According to the Leather Sole website, their first release of these was in 2008, and it talks about how, you know, their customers are always looking for a screen accurate Indy boot, and the Alden 403s and the 405s simply, you know, they're not built with the same leather, they're not exactly the same. These, however, were an attempt to achieve the look of the real Indy boot, and I think they nailed it. You know, in some of the shots from the film, the leather does kind of look a little bit more like this. As you can see, this leather here, it's called Vintage Nubuck. It's made by Horween. It has the commando sole. I get more compliments on these than probably any other boot that I have in my entire collection. People notice these. These don't look like this because I broke these in. These look like this because actually they came out of the box looking like this. So I can't take the credit for this incredible look that they have going on. And I'll also take these outside so you can get a better shot and more natural lighting. But you can see how they already look aged. I mean, just phenomenal. All right, here we go. We're outside now. Got some natural light on these babies. Check those out. Are those not some slick Indy boots right there? Whew. Yeah, I love the vintage nubuck. But yeah, I'll see if I could dig up pictures and include them in the video. These I've literally walked through rivers in these. I've gone hiking, I've gone rock climbing in these. And they look fantastic. And the best part is they make you feel like Indiana Jones, which who doesn't want to feel like Indiana Jones? The rest of the outfit I got going on here. So these are my J. Crew 484 Kaihara denims. These are dyed denims. My favorite khaki. And then right now I'm sporting my brown leather jacket just because I felt like it. And yeah, you know, just not trying to look like Indiana Jones, just trying to complete the look. So got that belt there, but that belt was made for these boots, I have to say. Whew, all right. What they do is they send you a form for you to request them, and you put down a down payment on them. I think it was $100 that you put down just to secure your pair and your size, because when they do a run, basically one pair in each size, and you have to basically call your size. And so I was lucky enough that when I placed my order for these, that there was a slot open for the 8.5s. Otherwise, I would have had to wait probably another year to get these. So it took about, I want to say 9 months to a year to finally receive these. I put in the order well in advance. This isn't a boot that you can just get overnight. No way. This is something that you have to order in advance and just wait. But wow, were they worth the wait. I really truly believe that after collecting several pairs of Indy boots, they should just go ahead and make this a standard makeup, but they don't. For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe this leather is rare, maybe it's hard to come by. But before I get too ahead of myself, I wanna kind of read what Leather Sole Hawaii has to say about this pair. That Indiana Jones fans are constantly trying to achieve screen accurate gear. We believe we're pretty close to achieving that, along with a few major improvements with our new leather sole exclusive vintage Indy boots. These vintage Indies are built with the same upgraded features, such as full leather linings, higher grade leather, which is the vintage oiled nubuck, and a leather commando sole, like I talked about. We also chose an all-around reverse welt for a cleaner, rugged look. You might recognize these babies from my first boot review. This is my Alden 403 and my Alden 405. These are 4 years old, 4 years of wear, equal wear on each. And I do plan to do an update review. I don't want to talk too much about them because I have so much to say about these that I don't want to spoil that with, you know, I don't want to steal the limelight from this. I'll show you what this means. So most Indies, they have the traditional, I think it's the 270-degree welt. Basically, see the welt stitching here? It stops right here. Stops right as you're approaching the heel. And then there's no more welt after that. See? Just comes and it stops right there. So, and the same on the 405s. See? You got the welt. Comes around and just stops right here, right as we're getting to the heel. And so that's known as the 270-degree welt. The vintage Indy, however, check this out. All right, you got a welt. Goes all the way around here. Oh, look at that, going all the way around the heel, all the way around. Isn't that sweet? That's pretty sweet. And then, not to mention, check out that commando sole. That commando sole is unlike anything I've ever seen. I've never seen three different shades of leather and then the commando sole. I've never seen that before. And one thing I do have to really say is cool about the Alden commando sole, what I love most about it, it's just a small feature, but see how this black overlaps with the leather right here? And it just comes across and it just ends right there. And it does that on both sides. It might be hard to see, but you see how the black just juts out a little bit? For some reason, I always thought that was the coolest thing. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I always thought that was super neat, just how that does that right there. So one thing that I noticed when these came was these smelled identical to these from Context Clothing. This is another really rare run right here. This is a leather called Reverse Tobacco Chamois. Sounds fancy, and let me tell you, it's one of the best leathers I've ever been around. It's technically not a suede, but it looks like a suede. Looks like a chocolate suede, but it's not. It's a rough out. It's a rough out leather. So as you can see, basically they call it that because the rough part of the leather is on the outside, and then the smooth part is on the inside. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. Anyways, when these came, they smelled so good that my entire room just smelled like this amazing oily smell from Horween, you know, obviously. And this, as you can see, I'm starting to geek out now. This also has the 360-degree welt all the way around. See that? Get an up close, because I can almost guarantee that both of these are processed identically, nearly identically. And you can see how they're almost kind of the same thing. Now I'm sure an expert could tell you why. I can't. But I just know that when these came, the smell was identical. The feel, it's nice and oily on both. This one's just obviously smoother because it's not rough out. But it still has sort of a suede-ish texture to it, if that makes sense. This one's different. This one's on the crepe. It's got a crepe sole or an all-weather walker sole. Since this is a slightly different leather, different sole, different leather, different sole, mock toe stitching, plain toe stitching, cotton laces, leather laces, it makes them just different enough to have both in your collection and for both to pull off a pretty different look, in my opinion. People ask me how I care for these boots, for these vintage Indies, and the answer is quite simple. You take the horsehair brush. That's it. You don't put anything on these. You're not going to go plastering these down with leather products. No. If you really want these to age right and age well, you don't put anything on that. This belt I got from J. Crew. I think it was a Wallace & Barnes belt, but as you can see, the leather on it couldn't be more perfectly matched to the boots. And the character of this belt just matches the character of these boots just flawlessly. I love this combination, and I'm rare to pick another belt. As much as I love my other belts, I'm rare to pick any other belt with this combination. You know, I don't geek out too much with the Indy stuff, but yeah, I will throw on my darker brown leather jacket with my vintage Indies, and I think, you know, and with this belt, and I think it just makes a killer combination. That's my take on the vintage Indies. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on my next review.